Why are you crouching?
Okay.
Oh.
What is the challenge that you face? Have you ever tried to overcome this challenge?
As Malala, the challenges I faced was that, like, the Taliban, when they took over Swat Valley, they took away many of rights, especially for women. They took away my education, and they didn't let girls go out on their own.
Oh, a challenge that I faced was that our government was trying to become westernized, but we were overthrown by a new leader because he wanted to change the idea. He didn't like the idea of westernization. I tried to overcome this challenge by expressing myself through not wearing my hijab correctly and not listening to my teachers.
A challenge I faced was rebel groups arriving to my country and sort of taking over the place, where most kids were forced to do things that they didn't understand or didn't even know what they were doing.
One emotional challenge that I faced that really impacted my life is the death of my brother. My brother was by my side through the orphanage and tough times. Well, overall, I decided to move on. Moving on would be considered taking or talking about other topics in the world. And what based upon what I'm reading, I have to accept what life is throwing at me. The second question is, how does your challenge relate to that of the Holocaust and the book Thief?
Well, my challenge I face relates to the Holocaust because the they took away the Jews' rights, like they couldn't practice their religion as they did to us because we couldn't have our education. The Taliban took away our education.
My challenge, how it relates to the Holocaust, because the government was ruled in a way that it only benefited the middle to upper class citizens or the people who supported the beliefs of the government. So if you didn't, you were usually poor and you didn't have any food.
My struggle related to the Holocaust because I think people kind of like blindly supported Hitler and didn't really understand what was going on. Just how the boys in the armies felt. They didn't even understand what they were doing. They just went along with it.
My challenge relates to the Holocaust because it was during that time period. My surroundings were not accepting and segregation occurred. Many individuals were not equal and togetherness vanished. The third question is, what connections or similarities are there between the author's experiences?
Well, all the authors faced this conflict and their challenges during the same age, like 10 to 12. And specifically to Malala, I think Malala and Marjane both faced similar challenges because their rights specifically to women were taken away, and some of them were related to education.
One connection I have with Malala is that when the government changed, there were a lot of repressive laws against women in that area. A connection I have with Liesl is that whenever she had to go to Hitler's Youth, they had to salute Hitler. Whenever I went to school, we changed our new government. We sang our new government song. And a connection I have with Ishmael is that there was war. There is that everyone around us was at war and we had to go along with it or else we would be punished.
I think a similarity that all of us had, like Malala said, that we went through our struggle and challenge at a very young age that we weren't really prepared for. But something different from all of them, I think, would be that mine happened very quickly. It kind of happened overnight. My family was killed and then I was forced into an army, while everyone else's was just like a gradual thing, just slowly going.
One connection/similarity with Malala is that her education was something she was fighting for, and many people were against it, where I, Lisa, was still trying to read, and I couldn't write, and it was really hard for me, just like how Malala knew how to, but people were against her in that topic. The last question is, how have power of words impacted your life?
Well, the power of words have impacted my life because first, my father has a love for words, and I have like a big influence from my father. And second of all, the Taliban, they used words to convince people to join their cause. And the third reason was that like I chose to write a biography to share my world through my words.
The power of words have impacted me because my life because I was a devoted believer of God up until my mother said that God would put people in their place, and I was confused why God wouldn't forgive people. And another reason words impacted my life would be that the new government ideas influenced the majority of people into believing that the way they were doing things was the right and likely way.
The power of words have helped like my life because most of my story was communicated through words. A lot of people are living in luxury and really have no idea what's going on outside of their country, but I think that my book and the words in my book really helped people understand.
Power of words for me is where I was able to express my feelings, and when in sorrow, when I was depressed, when I was going through a rough time, words were the only thing that came out of my mouth. Even though I couldn't read or write, I was able to express what was feeling inside of me to other people so they knew what was going on.